the singing. Here. Hello, Doodle and Chat, and welcome to Doodle and Chat with Friends. I'm Carrie Baughcum.
And I'm Mandi Tolen.
And we are super excited to have Evan Mosier with us tonight on Doodle and Chat with Friends. He's ready to doodle and chat and draw and probably get into a little bit of things that he's just not quite sure, but he's here because he's excited.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We're so excited.
I am excited too. So I'm going to start us off by just doing a little intro for Evan. And Evan and I have spent some time together, so there might be some stories that come out tonight. So some interesting situations. So I am just so excited to introduce my dear friend Evan Mosier to Doodle and Chat tonight. He is a technology innovator in Davenport, Iowa, where he lives with his wife and two adorable boys. He is an ISTE certified educator, a Google certified trainer, and a Wakelet and Flipgrid ambassador. But I met Evan through the Ditchbook weekly chats, and that's where he became, I would say, an integral part of my PLN. Just one of those people that I could go to for anything. We've had many adventures together. They began in ISTE in Chicago, where we survived In Denver, where we survived the heaviest rain and flooding I think I have ever seen in my life. And then most recently, we were in ISTE at NOLA, where we presented together. And there are so many stories in between those two ISTEs. It's unbelievable. Evan is the most kind and helpful person you could ever meet. And I am excited to doodle and chat all about him tonight.
Thank you, Evan, for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, friends. So for Evan and our friends that are joining with us, whether you're live or joining us later, we have the bowl that knows, which is a tradition around here. And it has, Evan smiles. I hope he's done his homework.
Have.
Yay. It has questions that are specially written just for Evan. And then there's a few other questions in here that are just for fun that even Mandi and I do not know about. So we are going to turn our cameras on and doodle and chat with Evan all about him and learn a little bit more about what makes him such an amazing educator and person. And then we welcome friends that are joining us to doodle and chat along with us, because we're always excited to see how other people connect with our conversations with people. All right, here we go. I'm going to redo that. Hold on.
we tried to get it so that it lines up. Oh,
no. There we go. I fixed you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. And we have Kimberly here with us, joining us. And she says, once upon a clown car in Minneapolis. Is that a story?
Oh, boy. There's another one.
Well, I feel like Kimberly brought it up. Let's start there. We'll get our doodle and chat started, and you can share with us about this clown car experience.
This was a wonderful experience. Back when, I think it was 2018, Flipgrid held a student voice conference in Minneapolis. And I was lucky enough to be selected to present at this conference. And so I drove up. It's about a 5-hour drive for me. And a good friend, Raina Friedman, was there, along with wonderful Kim Zajac.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the group, we decided that since our hotel was kind of across the bridge, we needed to Uber over to our conference in our convention center. Well, somehow throughout the Uber rental, we had to fit like 6 of us in a 4-door car, and it was a wonderful clown car experience. It was one of those things where you get to know each other a little bit better. because you don't have any other choice because they're practically sitting on your lap. And so that was a great experience for Kim and Raina and all the other fun people that we were there with. And it was one of those memories that just came about because of an Uber rental. So yeah,
I think Flipgrid gets a shout out here because some of our adventures involve Flipgrid too. I believe we were walking to Flipgrid one night.
Yeah, Flipgrid has a way to bring about some wonderful stories. We were in downtown Chicago, and well, were we at dinner or something, Mandi? We were going to Flipgrid Live or something, right?
We were.
We were at dinner with Matt Miller and Carly Mora and Mandi and a wonderful husband, and we decided, you know what? It's a 30-minute walk to Flipgrid Live. Let's just go. So you know what? We're just going to have a wonderful adventure again. And so on our way there, we walked under an overpass that was apparently some territory.
Did you go on Lower Wacker Drive? You're not supposed to do that.
Well, I don't know if it was that, but it was pretty darn close.
Guessing it was. It gets kind of scary down there.
So Mandi and I are walking together behind the group, okay? And so we're getting some stares by some residents of the
Lower Wacker. Oh yeah.
Yep. And so all of a sudden this gentleman gets in his car and he starts driving behind us on the sidewalk. And he revs his engine and then speeds into the road. And Mandi grabs my arm as we're going to Flipgrid Live and yanks herself as close as she can to me as if I'm going to protect her from a moving vehicle. But it was another adventure where it was like, hey, we're in this together. I got you.
What's funny is,
oh my goodness,
my husband and the rest of the group, they were like 10 spaces ahead of us or something. And that engine revs, and I was like, well, it's me and Evan. It's coming for us. They didn't even turn around. They were like, whatever.
No.
I
think we had to tell them that story once we got seated at Flipgrid Live.
And they're like, we didn't see that. I'm like, it happened.
Yeah,
it was there.
Whatever. So yeah, wonderful clown car stories, and then almost getting run over by a clown car.
I usually don't add color, but the clown car is just too good not to add some color to it.
Oh, without a doubt.
I just packed my people into the little bitty tiny windows of my little bitty tiny car.
That's awesome.
Got some red noses.
Oh, your people are sticking out. That's a great idea. Mine just looked like popcorn in the windows.
Oops.
Well, it was raining when I was with Kim and them, so we couldn't hang out the window, but we probably would have if we could have.
Our producer, aka my Annabeth, is not here tonight, so I'm like, I leave that up to her. That's okay. It's all gonna work.
I love it.
Thank you. So fun. I love those kind of stories. Those are the best. And it was funny because as I was doing my Evan research on various social media sites, I felt like I was playing 6 Degrees of Evan and Carrie, because there were so many times where I didn't even think in Chicago, Mandi, how did we not you introduced yourself at Denver to me, but how did we miss each other in Chicago?
I don't know. I was having adventures with Evan. That's how.
I guess.
Right. We were getting run over almost.
And then there were other pictures I was looking at, Matera was in there, and then Nick, I can't remember what Nick's last name is, and Adam. And I was like, wait, where was that? And I was there too, probably, because those were my friends. And so it was just really funny because I was like, I feel like we could do a whole 6 Degrees of Carrie and Evan. I feel like we've been this close and we just have never seen each other, Evan.
Absolutely. Almost every time, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really funny. I'm like, did I see him one time? And I don't even know I did. Did we meet? And I don't remember.
It's quite possible. It is quite possible. I mean,
yeah. Like there was one picture and I was like, where is that from? Did you ever go to USM Spark? That would have been in Wisconsin. So no. So it must have been probably one of the ISTEs that I saw pictures from. I couldn't remember. Oh, well.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
For you. Yeah.
But like even you talking about Raina and Kim, and like we had Raina on here with us, and then Raina and Kim and I had, we had lunch together, and then I saw pictures of you at the really wacky breakfast place. Raina took me there, and you had pictures there too in Boston, right? It was really kind of wacky and I don't know. I don't remember the name of it, but it was just funny. I was like, oh my gosh, Raina or Evan and I are like, we're just missing the beat.
Maybe Philly? I don't know. I'm trying to recall where that would have been.
No, it must have been Boston because that's when I went with Raina to the restaurant. But if you had never, I think it was Toast Kimberly. It was kind of off the beaten path and kind of fun. Maybe it was a different restaurant and it just looked the same. Who knows? I don't know.
It's hard telling.
It is.
Sounds like it's been so close so many times, Carrie.
I think so. I think so. All right. Well, we're already off. I mean, we've got a clown car. I've never drawn a clown car before. I get to draw a clown car now.
It's
a great start.
Best.
It's the best.
Right?
And we haven't even asked a question. That's amazing.
I know. And I'm suspecting that Evan's paper is blank right now.
100%. Oh, yeah. It probably will be.
And that's okay.
It is okay. All right. Well, let's see what the bowl has for us tonight for Evan. What is the most outdated piece of tech you still use regularly?
Ooh. Is it bad that it's hard to choose? I will preface that, I guess not so much preface, but add on to that, I'm a language arts guy. And so I'm also certified language arts in addition to my love for educational technology. And so I'm a huge paper pencil guy. And so I can't bring myself to do like digital to-do lists. I have note cards upon stacks of scrap paper, upon stacks of, lined paper, something here or there. And I have them all in a pile and I can go through them with my to-do lists, but I cannot bring myself to go to something like Google Keep, which would be much easier. And it's in my phone and it's with me all the time. So probably my to-do lists would probably be the most outdated piece of technology that I have. As far as that goes, my goodness, I'm not sure what others might be.
Well, I'm with you on the to-do list. Like I want to have a to-do list that's digital, and because I love technology also. But there's just something about the paper and the pencil that just, you can cross it off and it's just right there in your face and you can't forget about it.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the crossing off or the scribbling out. That is just, it's so rewarding visually to have that and feel that task being removed from the to-do list.
It does. Now, I do both, so I'm kind of a little bit weird like that. And I'm not really sure. Maybe it says something about our personalities. It also may say something about my age. But who knows?
Not that much. You're only what, 35 like me?
So close. So very close. So I also I have Google Keep. I do it for things like my grocery list because I can share that with my husband. I use Google Keep for a lot of things, but not my to-do lists. Mm-hmm. I also I have a Google Calendar, but I also keep a paper calendar because there's something about writing it in my calendar that's just very satisfying. So I just do it twice, which is so weird. Like, I don't think that's normal, but that's what I do.
And again, it's another similarity between you and I. At my office at school, I have a Chicago Blackhawks desk calendar that's, 2x2 or 3x2, whatever they are. And I will physically write my meetings down.
Yep.
Even though I've already accepted the email invitation, it still has to be on that visual calendar that I look at. So I know that it's coming up.
It does. So are you a month at a time guy, or are you a week at a time guy?
Oh, totally a month at a time.
Me too.
Month at a time.
People will send me a calendar and they're like, here's this little like week by week thing. I'm like, you guys are monsters.
No, it's gotta be the whole month. I've
How
gotta
can
see
I not
everything.
see the whole month?
And then once again, if you want to connect that crossing off, the same satisfaction applies to when there's a meeting on your calendar that gets canceled and you scribble it off on the visual calendar right next to the desk. That's just as rewarding.
It sure is. Nice.
Got lots of we're dissatisfied just crossing off the calendar.
You guys are making me look really good. Those are outstanding.
Oh no. All right. See, that was a good one.
I know that, and that was one of our random ones. We're always surprised by the bowl, Evan.
Love it.
That wasn't a planned one. You never know. Only the bowl knows. All right, let's see what else we got here. What was your favorite part of meeting two-time Olympian and former Blackhawk, Jeremy Roenick?
You got to put me on the spot with this one. I think there's a story with that too. And as the viewers may not know, I am a huge Chicago Blackhawks fan. And it was about the time I was 7 years old when NHL 94 came out. And so it was prime game time, and Jeremy Roenick was right in his prime time then as well. And so I kind of followed him through his career. And I think the most rewarding part was kind of how it happened, really, the build up to it. So I went to the University of Northern Iowa, and in my education class, I had a fellow student, and through conversation, she found out I was a hockey fan. And so through even more conversation, she was dating a gentleman by the name of Joe Pavelski, who was at the time playing in Worcester. And he was playing for the Worcester Sharks, and he had just gotten the call up to the San Jose Sharks. And so at that time, Jeremy Roenick was playing with Joe in San Jose. So Sarah was her name. She's now his wife. I was in class with her when Joe proposed. So I got to hear the proposal story. And I mean, it was really neat. Once he signed his deal, she was studying to become a secondary language arts teacher. And once he signed his deal, she basically said, thanks, but no thanks, because Joe had a wonderful contract, that was many, many figures, many more zeros than I could ever imagine. And so through that conversation, my now wife, who I was dating at college, we were high school sweethearts. We went to college together. Dana had reached out to Sarah behind my back, the little rat, and asked Sarah and told her, said, hey, I'm buying Evan tickets to the San Jose Sharks Chicago Blackhawks game on March 7th in Chicago. Would it be possible to get locker room passes? And it was almost like it was just hey, can you pick up milk at the grocery store on your way home from work? Because she said, yeah, no problem. I'll have Joe add you to the list. Here's where you go at the end of the game and tell him Joe sent you. So I was surprised with these tickets. We took off. We drove home after class one, I think it was a Friday night. And then we woke up early the next morning and went to Chicago and saw the game. And my wife now, Dana, said to me, she goes, hey, there's one more thing we're going to do here. And I said, what are you talking about? It's been a great game. I think Jeremy Roenick even scored that game. She goes, hey, I got in touch with Sarah Pavelski, and we have locker room passes. I said, you are kidding me. And so we went down to the gate where we were supposed to go. And Dana said, hi, Joe Pavelski was supposed to have left my name for tickets or locker room passes. And they said, well, what's your name? They said, yeah, Dana Bracken, now Dana Mosier, of course. And they said, yep, you're right here. Hold out your hands. And they slap a wristband on and said, straight down the hall to the left. And here we are. I am about a foot away from all of these people. And Doug Wilson, the general manager at the time of the San Jose Sharks, comes over and introduces himself. And it played out perfectly because it was a white Chicago Blackhawks hat giveaway night. And I had a Sharpie, of course. I had just purchased a San Jose Sharks Jeremy Roenick jersey to wear to the game. And I asked Doug Wilson if he would sign the hat. And he goes, absolutely. And I said to him as he was getting ready to leave, I said, Mr. Wilson, I said, thanks for bringing JR back. He winked at me and said, yeah, he deserves to play. He can still play. And I said, holy moly. So, take the time to be personal. So Joe comes out and he comes over and introduces himself to Dana and me. We take a picture together and he goes, JR is pretty busy because he's back in Chicago. He said, but he wanted me to give this to you. And he hands me a signed San Jose Sharks puck from Jeremy Roenick. And I said, that's awesome. And he goes, I do want to tell you one more thing. He said, if he does not come over and talk to you when he comes out of the locker room, when he's done doing his media stuff, you come and get me and flag me down, and I'll make sure you get to meet him. And so that was an incredible experience because he comes out of the locker room and I'm yelling, JR, JR, JR. And he comes right over and I said, hey, I'm the one that Joe Pavelski signed the puck for. He goes, and it's just like we'd known each other for years. He's like, yeah, JR, or Joe's a great guy, isn't he? And how do you know him? And so I went through the whole story and he said, God bless you for becoming a teacher. It's great. And so I had the Sharpie in my hand. He grabs my jersey, goes, where do you want it? And I'm like, wherever you want. So he signs my jersey on the crest right up here where my St. Ambrose logo is. And I had worn the jersey for about 5 hours because I had just ordered it, from NHL.com like the day before it came. And so now that is sitting in a nice jersey frame here in my office. And it was such a wonderful experience. And it was a really cool. He was a really down-to-earth guy. And I just was so excited to finally get the opportunity to not only meet Joe, and, because I had class with his wife and everything, and to get that experience to meet JR. And he actually, a couple years ago, opened a Golf Galaxy here in Davenport. He was like their promo guy. And we had a newborn baby. Oh, and our son is now 5. I think he was maybe a month or 2 at the time. It was rumored that Jeremy Roenick was going to be there to open. And once again, my wife came through and said, you've got to go. You've got to go see him. And so I went and got tickets that morning because he was coming that afternoon. And then they said, you can only bring one item with you to autograph. And I thought, well, I already have a jersey. I already have a puck. I'll take his books. He wrote 2 autobiographies. I'm like, if they tell me he can only sign one, perfect. That's the worst they can do. So I'd read both of his autobiographies. And then I threw on my Chicago Blackhawks Jeremy Roenick jersey. And so I go and I get up there and I say, hey, can you sign the books? He goes, oh man, this is great. I'm so happy you bought the books. Signs them for me, gives me a pat on the back, and we take a picture together. He goes, wait, this is my Blackhawks jersey. Grabs a Sharpie and signs my Blackhawks jersey. So now I have 2 books. I have 2 jerseys and a puck signed by Jeremy Roenick. And I had brought it up. I said, I met you in Chicago a couple years ago. when you were playing in San Jose with Joe Pavelski. And again, Joe is such a great guy, down to earth, humble guy from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Of course, that, that Midwest, Iowa nice, Midwest nice kind of thing. And so I was just incredibly happy of how great of a guy Jeremy Roenick was to every single one of the fans there. And not only meeting him after he played a hard-fought hockey game, he's tired, but also just his, and his other love of golf. So it was such an incredible experience times two to have that, and to see someone who you played with in NHL 94 and you followed his career, just to be so humble and so appreciative of his fans and willing to know, or wanting to know, about anybody that he came in contact with.
That's awesome. It's always wonderful when you meet people that you admire from afar and they don't disappoint you.
110%. Yeah.
They're just as amazing as you had hoped they would be. And that's always that's super special. I like that. So fun.
So much to draw on just that one thing.
I know.
so many wonderful things right there.
Absolutely.
Are you ready, Mandi?
I am ready. You bet.
Okay, here we go. The bull is getting personal. Explain to us the multi-level thinking process that is behind being a drummer in a marching band.
Oh, man. You guys really did your homework. This is fantastic.
So captain the marching band, right?
I did. Yeah.
High school and college, right?
High school and college, yes. It's a wonderful experience to be a drummer in a marching band, because you are obviously the beat, and so it's important that you're in time with the conductor, the drum major, whomever it might be. And so I was, little backstory, I was lucky enough to participate in my high school marching band and was a drumline captain and played snare for the last 2 years. I was a bass drummer before that. And I was drumline captain my senior year, and I went on to play collegiately at Northern Iowa in their drumline. And one of the coolest experiences is just being, I don't want to say the center of attention, because that sounds too kind of self-centered, but it's really just that you have to make sure that you are on and in sync with the conductor, so that everybody else around you, because drums are pretty loud instruments, and so if you're off, that's going to throw off the entire band. So the thinking is that it just you get in this zone, you get in this sync with whomever is conducting, and you just let it flow from there. My wife still jokes with me that I had a drum face. So anytime she could tell I was playing, and she would always see my drum face and say, you could tell you were in the zone because you had your drum face on. And so it's one of those cool things that you really, to put it into kind of a for fun term, to you take it in stride, really, with kind of taking the music that you are playing in addition to the conductor, and you combine all of that to keep it was a 150 piece marching band in high school, and even more so in college, just all together at once and in harmony. And it is just one of the most rewarding experiences, because you're like, yeah, I got that, I got to be a part of that. And that was a wonderful experience. So I got to play in Orlando when I was in high school. I've marched at Kinnick Stadium, the home of the wonderful Iowa Hawkeyes. And that was a cool experience too. When I was at Northern Iowa, I was marching on the field, and I said to myself, I thought, man, this isn't all that bad. I've marched at high school stadiums, and I've marched in the Unidome. I was like, I don't know what's so different about marching here. And then I said to myself, well, look up, dummy. And you look up and you're like, whoa, I'm marching at Kinnick Stadium, and there's a whole lot of people, and it's really tall stadium, and it's just an outstanding experience. And that was the year that you and I went to the national championship. So I got to march in the national championship in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and you and I played Appalachian State that night and came out on the short end of the stick and probably the coldest I've ever been in a marching band uniform. But it was, I don't know. These are memories I cherish and will take with me the rest of my life, and lifelong friends come out of that too. And I know, you make friends everywhere you go and whatever it is, but just as an incredibly rewarding experience to be a part of that large of a group and be cohesive and put together some cool stuff.
That's awesome.
I mean, we got to play, we played a Beethoven show in high school, and we played, Red Hot Chili Peppers in college. So kind of all the ends of the spectrum that just kind of made it such a cool thing.
And I might have heard from a source that this is something that you hope that you either can encourage your kids to do or teach your kids to do. So have either of your boys shown any interest in that?
Not yet, unfortunately. But yes, so I really do hope they take that into consideration. But our youngest son is kind of showing some interest in the drums, but I will say he's our athletic one. And so he's going to have a hard decision to make, but I think he'll eventually choose sports. But no, they haven't really shown any interest. I do have a wood shop here at the house, and Dana keeps telling me that if we ever get a drum set, that's where it's going to go, so she doesn't have to listen to it in the house. And so I've been asking for a drum set for a long time, but we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. But it's something I definitely love and wish anyone to, if I can have any advice for the aspiring musicians or even young musicians out there, is to play all through high school. And if you can fit it into your schedule, play at college, because that was the greatest decision I ever made. Is I made the drum line at UNI. I went up 2 weeks before school started. I had 185 new friends. I knew where everything on campus was. And it was just one of those comfort feelings of, again, being a part of a larger entity and helping freshmen who are just moving in and new to the campus, even though you're still the same grade and might even have classes with them. It's just such a cool thing to be a part of and have as experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, my youngest is a sophomore, and she's in the orchestra, but is dating a drummer in the band. And it's fun to be a part as a parent to watch the camaraderie that happens even between those two groups, but also just what's really special about those types of groups. And then my oldest is in the choir and theater, and there's just, you get your people are there, right?
Absolutely.
And it's people that love you unconditionally and accept you unconditionally and are there for you no matter what. And it's just, I don't know. I know I played sports, and there is that camaraderie, but it feels different when it comes to the arts, It
sure does. Yeah.
Real special.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, there's lifelong friendships, and people that I played in drumline with in high school are now co-teachers. I work with them in the district, and it just is like, even just the other day, I was at the elementary building that I support, and one of the teachers there I was in drumline with, and she goes, "Hey, do you remember that time when we were playing at, I don't know, she said homecoming or whatever." She goes, "I had no idea what the music was, so I just played all night, and I had no idea what we were doing." And I said, "You're kidding me." I said, "How did you do that?" I said, "We were on the bass line together, and I had to follow your lead." So somehow we made it work and didn't get in trouble for it from Mr. Mott, our wonderful, wonderful music teacher. But yeah, just neat stories and things. that go along with drumming and being a drummer. So kudos to your daughter. I can only assume he's a great guy because he's a drummer.
So far so good. They're still young,
Good.
but and it's still early. But yeah, he's a neat kid.
Wonderful.
He's a neat kid. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So fun. All right, let's see what else the bowl has for us.
All right, let's do it.
How does the case of the mysterious PDF file end?
With an editable Google Slides file.
So take us through how you thought about that session and why.
Yeah, for sure. So in our district, I'm a technology innovator, as Mandi so wonderfully introduced at the beginning, which is essentially a tech coach. And so I get to work with a variety of teachers, and a lot of the issues they were having revolved around PDFs. And when we first started with Google, we've been a Google district since, I want to say 2016, 2017, I think. So right about in that time. And so a lot of teachers were like, oh, this is great. I can have them complete it digitally. I can save on my copy numbers, and this is going to be wonderful. So we put it in their Google Drive, and then they would share it via Google Classroom to their students, and their students would say, we can't do anything with it. So we can just see the PDF. So then the problem became, well, what do we do with it? You know? And so basically it was just through a lot of trial and error. I said to myself, I thought, I can change a Google slide template to be an 8.5 by 11. I wonder if I'm able to convert a PDF to a PowerPoint. So I did a quick Google search, and I found a site, Easy PDF, or one of those cool sites that allow you to, through a few click of the buttons, create some magic and convert a PDF file to PowerPoint. And so if you have that little settings option checked where it automatically converts the file to a Google Docs editor format, you can upload that PowerPoint into Google Slides, and more often than not, the format works. And it's amazing, because then if you have an entire manual of PDFs where you're pulling from for, extra practice or what have you, the teacher can just simply copy that slide into a new presentation and share just a few slides with their students in Google Classroom. Now, I know there's wonderful tools out there through Adobe, because Adobe's the all overarching PDF, king. But, we're kind of limited with finances in our district, and so we don't have that capability. So I had to find a workaround for that case, if you will. And so that was what I came up with, was taking a PDF and converting it to a PowerPoint, then uploading it to a Google Slides presentation. And it was one of the biggest aha moments I think I have had from teachers, just because they have been able to, now they can put a text box where they want, or they can have students respond to a writing prompt without having to run copies and worry about their copy numbers, and just let Google do the work for them. So it ends with that editable Google slide.
Nice. I like it. It also makes me think, like, how, we have Cami in our district, but it also just makes me think, like, I take advantage of that, like that, the fact that all districts must have that access, but they don't. So nope. To me, taking through this process, I'm like, well, why would you want to do that? All you do is use this. But it is important for us to continue to think differently about how we can use simple free tools for teachers, yep. So that all teachers have access to things, right?
Absolutely. We have Cami in our district, and I know some teachers are more comfortable with it than others, but at the time it was one of those things that was like, well, it's not an add-on yet. It hasn't been approved. So here's what we can do. So I think more, now that you mention it, have shifted kind of to using Cami. Mm-hmm. But it was Doc Hub back when we first started, and that just was not working the way we wanted it to. So I had to come up with something.
But even, you know, Kimmy is nice, but even like just thinking again, like it's just accessible for everybody. Like you don't have to have that thing. And I do like the idea of having that chat option in slides.
Yeah.
Or the multiple student use, which it's not as flowy and easy as Cami is. And also sometimes keeping track of those Cami assignments, at least for me, is not always super fun. But the Google ones are a little bit easier, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, I'm not as familiar with Cami. I'll be completely transparent, but just the way you can make a copy and then of course provide the wonderful feedback in all the ways that you can just makes a whole world of difference when teachers are constantly changing and shifting and on the move.
Agreed.
And not to mention Google Slides is probably the best Google tool there is.
I agree. I love Google Slides. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. And I'm not going to give any credit other than to Casey Bell, who I always hear it from, that Google Slides is the Swiss Army knife of Google tools. And it truly is.
It is right.
It really is.
100%. Yeah. It's a beast.
I also love the title of that.
It's fun, right?
It is a very great title. Absolutely.
I will say it was when I presented the poster session at ISTE last year, I had quite a few people come up and say, well, what's wrong with the PDF? And I said, no, nothing's wrong with the PDF. It's just students are unable to edit it when we don't have those other tools available. So that's another kind of a creative thing. I just kind of thought, well, what's going to be catching, what's going to kind of draw some interest in.
Yep.
No, and I also think it's always valuable for us to hear people take us through a process where we had a problem. You did your research, you learned about different options, and then you took a tool like Slides, it's meant for presenting, and flipped it on its head and made it something that now makes PDFs accessible to everybody, collaborative, editable. So I think it's always great for educators to be reminded of the fact that we can think differently about things to bring out the best in tools.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we're always learning and we're always retooling, I guess you could say, but it's just one of those things that we had to come up with something. And it's just, I always love the lifelong learning aspect of education and being a teacher. And it truly is just that.
I agree. That's one of my favorite parts too.
I'm not going to lie. When you said retooling, I wanted to reply, retool this, because I've been.
I did too, and then I was like, people will be offended.
It's a line in Christmas Vacation, and I just saw it like 2 days ago. So.
Well, hey, getting in the spirit, I guess.
That was running through my head as well. Not that it was from Christmas Vacation, just that phrase. And I was like, I can't write that. That's like almost like swearing on a sketch note. I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so much fun. All right, let's see what we got here.
Uh-oh.
Describe working at the Buffalo Menards in 3 words. Am I right? Did you work at Menards in 2011?
I worked at Menards, yes, but it was in Davenport.
Oh, wrong one then.
Buffalo's my hometown.
Okay.
That's okay. Davenport Menards in 3 words?
Yes.
And it can't be save big money.
Well, there goes that idea, because isn't that the Midwest? Mandi, you're in the Midwest. That's the Midwest national anthem, by golly.
I just saw that on TikTok.
Everybody stands at attention when that song
That's
comes
right.
I've got to say beneficial, for sure. Friendly, because I think I worked with, again, lifelong friends I made there. And I will also say that it was enjoyable, because I worked in the millwork department, And
Oh,
so I got to design cabinets and countertops and kitchens and, with windows and doors and trim and all that stuff. And when I was a classroom teacher all those years ago, I say that, but it's only been like 6 or 7. I'm currently in the classroom, but when I had a classroom of my own, there were days when I would walk out of teaching and think, maybe stocking trim wasn't all that bad and the splinters weren't bad at all. Or maybe the rude customers weren't that bad, really, in hindsight. But I will say that it was a very, very beneficial experience, because even now as a homeowner, I find myself reflecting on things that I did at Menards. I learned at Menards. I worked there for, my goodness, it was, I think, 9 years, not 8 or 9 years, in a variety of areas. And so, and I've made lifelong friends. My manager I have installed kitchen cabinets with my manager. He was across the street from me. He goes, "Hey, Evan, why don't you come over and help?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, sure. We can use the wood shop if you need to." And it's just been, we use the table saw out there and cut some paneling and filler strips out there. So yeah, it's again been one of a beneficial experiences that kind of have shaped me and even continue to be beneficial as a homeowner too.
So what I hear you saying is, I have a spare bedroom. When it's time to redo my kitchen, you need to come to Missouri and visit. That's what I hear you say.
What you're hearing now is that I will have retired about a day before I was supposed to arrive at your house.
wow.
No, I'm kidding. Of course, Mandi. Absolutely. I've done some laminate flooring since then. I put some laminate flooring in our kitchen and our Four Seasons room, and then our neighbor got a hold of that, and then I installed some laminate flooring for the neighbor in the dining room. And as a matter of fact, over winter break, I've got to go do the living room and hallway over at their house. So that's, again, all those skills that I learned while working at Menards, I've been able to put into practice. And it's a service, and I think education is that same way. We love to help people, and it's just, I've always been a people person, and I love to help people. And when the neighbor had asked if I, would help them, I'm like, well, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, Pat, your husband, we'll do it. I'll teach him along the way what I learned. And again, it's that teaching and aspect and helping and serving others, and just being somebody that people can confide in. And I love to being that person. And I think now that, we've kind of talked about a variety of topics that goes with Menards and drumming and education and all that. So
I think so too.
But yes, Mandi, I'm just a phone call away, and I'll be more than happy to help Jason out with whatever he needs.
And just a state away. I mean, it's a long drive, but just a state away. So
it's only, it's fine. Not too far. It's okay. We're in the Midwest. If it's only an 8-hour drive, nothing.
Very true. So I actually thought we might be a little bit closer, or at least we would get to visit. So my daughter, she's getting ready to move into her residency. So she graduates from medical school in May. She actually went to Davenport and interviewed at your hospital there and loved it. Loved it. She was like, I'm going because it's, it's not that far. And she came back and she's like, Mom, I really like this. Now her husband, on the other hand, is like, but do you really like it? I think it's cold up there.
It's a little bit colder, yeah.
So
was it Genesis or Trinity?
I don't remember, to be completely honest with you, because she just kept saying Davenport, and I kept saying I have a friend in Davenport, and that's as far as we got.
Come on over. I'm happy to help. But
that's as far as we got. But she loved the program so much that it moved on her list. It was 3 or 4 on her list, and she was super impressed by it. So it's not off the table. I may get to come and visit you anyway.
Yeah, you know you're always welcome.
That's awesome.
Evan, how much have you drawn?
Next to nothing, Mandy. I've been so enamored with conversation that I haven't drawn a single thing.
That makes
us happy.
Yeah, I haven't even given it a thought of what I could be drawing. I just have been like, I would love to share this and help others as much as I can.
It's perfect. I love it.
You are. And you are. All right, I think I'm going to draw one more question, and then there's one more in the bowl that I think would be perfect that we almost have to end on. So I'm going to pull from the bowl, unless the bowl gives it to us first.
Okay.
You never know, but if it doesn't, I'm just saying there's one we have to do. The bowl gave it to us.
Of course it did.
We are going to play a little game called Top Gun or Tommy Boy. I'm going to read a quote, and then you're going to tell us which of the movies it is from. We hear that you are quite
up to this. That's what I want to know.
We are very good.
I have my suspicions.
We are very good researchers. I just hope I didn't fail at these quotes. So here we go.
I'm going to be embarrassed if I miss them. That's the worst part.
The heat is on.
Top Gun or Tommy Boy? Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
Oh, that's Tommy Boy.
Very good. Were you calling from a walkie-talkie?
Did I hear a niner in there? That's also Tommy Boy.
That is. I learned way more about Tommy Boy than I needed to as I was researching these. You two really are cowboys.
That's Top Gun.
Yeah. Are you talking?
That's probably Tommy Boy.
It is. Very good. You're everyone's problem.
I think that's Top Gun.
Yes. Very good. It's pretty arrogant considering the company you're in.
Top Gun.
Very good. But you were tempted to ask me out for dinner.
Top Gun.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Oh, well, you already said this one. Did I catch a niner in there?
Yeah. Tommy Boy.
It takes a lot more than just fancy flying.
Top Gun.
Housekeeping. You want a mint for your pillow?
Definitely Tommy Boy.
Very good. Very good. Very good. I feel like that is the perfect question for us to wrap up this Doodle and Chat. So much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I have had an incredible amount of fun tonight, and I hope you have as well. And I think most of, I'm just honored to be in the same company as Raina and Jed, who you've had on the show, and all of the wonderful people that have made Doodle and Chat what it is. So I just could not be more excited to have joined you tonight and have been chosen for this. So thank you.
Aw, that is so nice. We're so happy that you're here, and we like to joke that now you're 6 degrees of Doodle and Chat. You're just 6 degrees of Doodle and Chat from someone,
Absolutely.
Yes.
And will you be in Philadelphia this summer, Carrie?
If the gods come together and everything aligns, Mandi and I would love to bring Doodle and Chat to ISTE. We'll see. We're chatting about it, but we are bringing ISTE to IdeaCon in Schaumburg this year.
Yeah.
In
Doodle and Chat to IdeaCon. Yeah.
What did I say?
You said ISTE to IdeaCon, which
that would be difficult.
I got what you said. I got what you meant. Yeah.
We are bringing Doodle and Chat to IdeaCon. So Mandi and I are very excited to bring this experience to Doodle and Chat or to IdeaCon like this, where we get to talk to people at the conference, draw with them, and then we're giving a session on it too, which we're hoping to Doodle and Chatify a session.
So that's incredible. That's
Very
wonderful.
exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
The reason I asked that is, we've been so close this many times. I will be there, and so maybe we could formally introduce ourselves.
It's on mine and Mandi's list of hopefully we can, if we can figure out, how to get there with things. But we would love to give people at ISTE a Doodle and Chat experience. We think it'd be really fun.
100%.
We do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if there's anything I can do to help or promote that, Mandi just has to give the word and I'm on it. So
we will let you know. We just have to, I guess we would just have to find some sponsors probably. But
we're working on it. It's in here. We're working on it. So we'll get it out.
Good. That's what I love to hear.
All right, Evan.
Well, Evan, I've been very excited to have you on tonight. I told Carrie, I said, you're so much fun. And we really have had so many adventures together. And I am just excited to share all the cool things that you do. Like I said, I got to present with Evan this summer, which was completely amazing. I mean, we've presented on Ditchbook panels before, but this time it was just me and Evan, and it was really cool. So
yeah, it was a cool experience. It was the Google Teaching Theater, which was even more cool.
It was very cool.
Right when we started presenting, they had the big spotlights come right in your face, and we're like, "Whoa, this is a little bit different than the Ditch panel."
It sure is. It sure is. So it was cool, though.
Absolutely, it was a wonderful experience, and I'm grateful for not only that experience, but our friendship and all the times we've been able to partner together, and it's been fun, and I look forward to many more.
Me too.
Well, thank you so much, Evan. It's evident that your passion for life and people and giving to the world is, it's just so abundant from you, and it's just wonderful to hear your stories and how no matter what job you're doing or what you're a part of, you make it more special, and that's just really fun to get to learn about you and your journey.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right, Doodle and Chat friends, if you were here with us and you drew with us, make sure you share out your Doodle and Chat on Twitter or Instagram using hashtag Doodle and Chat so we can see all the fun that you have with us here usually Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time. And we'll see everybody back here for Doodle and Chat next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.